Hi, Val Mullally, and here's my camera tipping over. Wow, let me get a straight picture. Oh boy, I've worked so hard to get the lighting right, and yet it's looking a bit weird and dark. Really difficult to try and get the lights right in a room. I'm just seeing that it just seems very dark on the lower part of my face, and I'm just wondering what I can do right now to try and make that better. You wouldn't believe I've been playing with the lighting and trying to get this right for quite a while. Anyway, here I am. I think let's get started even if the light isn't perfect. It's great to be with you. I see there's a number of people already on board. Hi, really excited about tonight because we've got a competition. I've just realized I didn't put the timer on and I need to keep an eye on, make sure I don't talk too long. So there's the timer going as well. I want to tell you that tonight we're going to be offering a small prize. Well, small in size, but a prize that can really make a difference. Hopefully you can see that there. A copy of my book, Behave, What to Do When Your Child Won't. We're talking about discipline tonight, so this is the perfect follow-on. And let me tell you more about it later on. Listen in, tune in to the end, because just before about 10 to 10, about quarter to 10, I'll be telling you how you can have your chance to win my book. So we'll talk about that shortly. But in the meantime, let me give you a little bit of idea about what I think about discipline. I think that discipline, how we discipline our children, is one of the most important things that we can do. We're either building their self-esteem, we're building their sense of compassion and caring and being connected to other people, or we're shutting them down. I'm seeing a light come floating across the screen, and that's fabulous. By the way, my name's Val Mullally. I think I forgot to introduce myself, and welcome everybody. You know, one thing I'd ask you as we talk about discipline, I'd invite you, just if you'd like to put in on the screen how many children you have. Like, oh, and I see Jill's just put up a link for us about the article that of the topic I'm talking about tonight. Thank you, Jill. But as a parent, if you would like to put in and just type in, say, if you have children aged 2, 5 and 10, 2, 5, 10, if you'd like to add in a little in the comment bar below here, how many children you have in your family, the ages of them. It just gives me an idea of where to pitch my talk. Now, some people might prefer not to, but if you'd like to, just pop in a little comment there would be great. And I'm hopefully those will pop up on the screen for me, just as Jill's thing telling us about the link has done that. Okay, so thank you already. Kelvin said 1 kid, 3 years, a 6-year-old. Amanda, thank you. 4, 6 and 8, thanks Dee. Kayla, a 10-year-old boy. Lovely to get your feedback. Thank you. So already we're getting a wide range. If anyone else would like to add on the age of their children, but some people obviously prefer just to listen in. 8 years old. This is perfect. What I'm hearing. Wow. 4 months, Diana, a little one, and 2 and 4. And that's really important to recognize. Children at that young age with a baby in the family really can need extra support. Jasmine, 16, 10 and 5. So I'll notice those as they're coming in. Thank you for putting them in. This is perfect, where I really see my work focusing. Wow, and we've got a grandmother on board as well. That's absolutely great, Cheryl. Thank you. Welcome. But all of you, you're very welcome. And I'd like to say that mainly my work focuses on how to support parents of children aged 2 to about 12, and yet the principles apply right across the board as well, I think. So we're going to be talking about 4 tips to proactive discipline, and a bit later on, in case you missed it earlier, I'm going to be offering you a chance to win a copy of my book, Behave, What to Do When Your Child Won't. So first of all, proactive discipline. You know, it's very easy for our discipline to be reactive, for us to jump in and end up sometimes handling things in a way we don't want to, because we didn't think ahead of time about what might happen and how do I want to be and what really matters here. And so what I'd like to focus on tonight is that whole thing of being proactive rather than reactive in how we discipline. And so what I'm going to do is give you 4 links 4 tips. 4 tips on what can give you some ideas about how to be proactive. Before I do that, I'm just going to say, please do like, please do share this if you find it helpful. Please do encourage your friends to come on board. And to mention, next week we'll be having Michelle Davitt speaking about breakfast, easy and healthy breakfast, overnight oats. So if you want some practical tools around breakfasting, that'll be next week. Thanks for the like I'm seeing floating across the screen. So let's get on to talking now about proactive discipline, and I'll talk and share the 4 tips, and then after that give you a chance, if you'd like to post a comment or questions that you'd like me to answer on this topic. We're focusing on proactive discipline. If you would like me to, hi Elaine, I'm seeing your message of little boy of 8, thank you. And if you'd like me to answer any questions in the time that we have regarding discipline, and I always come back afterwards in the next 24 hours and check if there's any new questions come in and respond as well. So even if you're coming in late and you've missed it live, do feel free to post a question if you'd like to. But also if it's something, because discipline can be a tricky issue, Lorraine, hi, girl 7, if it's a question that you feel you don't know if you want to put it up there in the public space, do feel free to put a private message to Jill and on Mykidstime, and she'll forward that message to me if there's something that you feel. Obviously time is limited in the response that I can give, but part of what we might do is create some future blogs as well to respond to what you're asking. So let's get going. 4 tips I'm going to give you. The first tip around proactive discipline is to use gerunds. What is a gerund? A gerund is just a very short phrase that says what you do want. So for instance, you know, very often we can be going out, say maybe eating in a restaurant, and you know, if we're not careful, we can get caught up in this sort of, oh, I'd like to say verbal garbage that starts just trundling out of our mouths. You know, sit up properly, eat straight, don't put too much food in your mouth, and you know, stop pinching your sister. You know, all the things that can happen at a time when you actually want it to be calm and enjoyable, and instead of that it becomes stressed with this sort of you know, with this, you worrying about what should happen, what shouldn't happen, and you can get so caught up in that instead of having a lovely evening out, sometimes it can end up being a bit of a disaster. So what do we do instead? When we use a gerund is a short and a positive phrase, and Faber and Maslich's book is a great book, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk, or it might be the other way around, but you get what I'm saying. Faber and Maslich's book, it gives a long description on this that's very helpful. So in other words, instead of sit up straight, don't put too much food in your mouth, you've talked ahead of time in a gentle way when you're all relaxed about, let's remember when we're going out to the restaurant, let's think about what is eating nicely. And there's your gerund, eating nicely. So it's going to be along the line of, you ask them for ideas. So they might say, well, we mustn't keep jumping up and down and running around. You say, yeah, we're going to stay sitting at the table while that's part of eating nicely. And what else is eating nicely? So you involve them in the discussion, and you involve them in thinking and discussing with you ahead of time what that gerund means, that eating nicely or whatever it is. It might be going to the supermarket, and it might just be walking. Instead of you saying this, you know, don't run, stay here, do this, do that. Instead of that, it's just the same phrase that you use, not only firmly, but nicely and pleasantly. You know, when you're pleasant to their children, they're more going to want to be cooperating with you. So the first tip of proactive discipline that I'm suggesting is use gerunds, short, positive, kind comments that encourage them and remind them of the behavior that you'd like. Lovely to see the likes and the hearts floating across the page. It's encouraging to know that people are there and listening. Thank you. So the second tip that I'd like to give for proactive discipline is to word things in the positive. The thing is, we so easily say it in the negative. We say things like, don't run. Well, you know what? The child doesn't hear the don't. The child hears the run. Because our brains can't actually process negatives. So, in other words, if I say to you, don't think of a big pink elephant. Don't think of a big pink elephant sitting on the cloud eating ice cream. Don't think of a big pink elephant sitting on a cloud eating ice cream with a bright purple hat on his head. Oh, what are you thinking of? I bet you're thinking of that big pink elephant, because our brains don't process the negative. So in other words, when you're wanting to give your child an instruction, give it in the positive. Instead of saying, don't run, say, walk. If you want to say, don't shout, say, talking quietly, and model it. So always turn it around into the positive. Likewise, another one I've heard on a number of occasions, an example of it would be, is like, don't stand in front of the TV. Well, you know, for a young child, they can't actually perceive it from your perspective as to what you're actually asking and what you're needing. So rather say, I can't see the TV if you're standing there. And ideally give them a choice. So you can choose to come and sit next to me here and we'll watch it together, or you can go and choose to play on the other side of the room. Give them a choice. But being aware that if we say, don't stand in front of the TV, what they're really hearing is stand in front of the TV. They don't hear the don't. So try always with giving a command, when you realize you're about to say it in the negative, or even if you do, flip it around straight away and put it into the positive of what will be more helpful, what the child can hear and respond to. Okay, so our first tip was gerunds. Our second one, short positive phrases. Our second tip was worded in the positive. The third tip for proactive discipline I'd like to suggest, and it makes so much sense, we know this, but it's helpful to be reminded of the things that we know sometimes, is give clear instructions. Give clear instructions. So what I'm meaning by that is sometimes we can give too many instructions all at once. For instance, you know, do this, do that, and we may be barking it out at different people at the same time too. If you want your child to hear and respond, make sure you get their attention first. So if I'm going to say something to Johnny, the first thing I would be saying is his name. Johnny, then he knows I'm talking to him. If I say his name at the end of the sentence, he might have been zoned out and not heard that it was him I was addressing. So always start with your child's name first, the one you're asking or requesting whatever you're needing to say. And then being aware of your tone, being calm, keeping it simple, short, and as I've already said, keep it in the positive. And also think about your eye contact with your child. Ideally you want it to be sort of the distance that I probably am from you in the screen right now, how you can imagine I am. You want it close enough that there's clear and definite and kind eye contact. And also, you know, sometimes just a light, you know, touch on the shoulder as appropriate, you know, just connecting with your child. What we sometimes do is we're dashing out the door or whatever, and we sort of yell an instruction over our shoulder out the other side of the room, and then we wonder afterwards why, you know, they don't listen to me. Well, actually you weren't connected with them. So at times when children aren't responding, you know, rather than giving out at them or imagining giving out at them, rather stop and think, how effectively did I actually communicate? Could I get my message across in a more helpful way? So that is our third one. And the last one I want to give you is to give warning around your timing. This is the fourth tip I'm going to suggest tonight. So, you know, if it's 5 minutes to supper, give that 5-minute warning. Say to them, you know, it's just 5 minutes till I'm going to be calling you to supper. Oh, Paige has just said, so helpful. Thank you, Paige. That's lovely. And thank you for all the encouragement from different people with the hearts and the likes. So give warning. And so it's nearly supper time. We're going to be needing to come to the table in a few minutes. If you think about it, imagine when you're all involved in something you really want to do and somebody just said, okay, right, stop now. You know, you'd be thinking, no, I'm doing what I'm doing. So give them warning. Okay, just start putting that puzzle piece into place, and then we'll be needing to come to the table or go to the door to go out or whatever we're doing. Okay, and with that as well, also warning with if you've been playing and having fun. I'm just seeing Rebecca's made a comment. Let me just see if I can. We use timers on our phones. For some reason, I'm battling to get the whole message come up. I'm not quite sure. Hopefully you can see it, people down below. I'm only seeing the top line, sorry. I'm imagining Rebecca saying times so that they get the ring come through. Is that what you're saying, Rebecca? I can't see the rest of your the line that you've written on the phone, unfortunately, at the moment. But I imagine you're saying to use a timer so that you have a way of reminding them that they hear the ringing going and that they know, okay, that's the time. So another way that I'd like to suggest, give warning on timing, is, thanks, Rebecca, I see your yes there, it is around, if you're having fun and playing, it's almost like, you know, they're in fourth or fifth gear in the car, you know, it's like you screaming down the highway, you know, when you're having real fun, like, you know, having a pillow fight or maybe on the trampoline or something like that. And if you were in the car, you don't just go from fifth gear right down to first gear. You don't go stop, you know, you don't do that in the car. Likewise, in the same way, when you are needing to calm them down, think about slowing them down through the gears. Whoa, my lights have just dimmed. Hope you can still see me okay. Wow, we're getting some on and off lights here. Sorry about that. Paige is saying that makes so much sense. So if, for instance, you've been sort of having fun, having a pillow fight or something, and then, you know, we've got to start winding them. Then start slowing it down, sort of, okay, guys, I'm getting a bit tired now, just a few more minutes, you know, just warn them first of all. And then sort of, okay, guys, let's start putting the pillows back on the bed. So start doing, you know, fourth gear, third gear. Okay, let's take a few breaths. Oh, let's have a big stretch all together. You're slowing them down through the gears, and very often by giving that sort of warning and slowing down the play, you'll often avoid that type of upset that often results when, you know, play ends too suddenly. So slow it down. So the tips are in the article. You'll see the link down below if you're watching live on Facebook now. And so you can read the full article on there. And as I said, I promised you, and time is running out fast. We've hardly got time for any questions. I promised you that I would tell you about making a little competition on the book tonight. I know, maybe, I'm not sure, but there might be one or two people online at the moment who've maybe read my book already, Behave What to Do When Your Child Won't, by Val Mullally. That's me. If you've read it and you'd be willing to make a short little comment on the Facebook Live just to give people your impression of the book, I'd love you to do that just for other people's benefit. It has at present on on Amazon UK, it currently has 17 5-star reviews. Rebecca says, read it in one evening, excellent. Okay, thank you, Amanda, for saying this is helpful. I can't say all that needs to be said on discipline tonight, but this book took me 3 years to write, or in a sense it took me 30 years to write, because it came from the parenting experience I had, a lifetime of teaching as well, and I put what I found really helpful into this book. So hopefully you might be interested. But I promised you that I'd make a chance for you to win this copy if you would like to do that. So here's how to have your chance to win Behave. Last month I did a Facebook Live on school when your child doesn't want to school, and I made an acronym, and I used a little piece of paper that I wiggled around and made into the little different letters, you know, I made into the S for school and the different letters of school. Well, you know what? When I watched it afterwards, I realized I had left off one of the letters of the acronym of school. So you can find that video by looking down the Mykidstime left-hand side, and you'll find that there. And oh, by the way, for the book, I see Jill's kindly put a link for the book so that you can find it yourself on Kindle and also in paperback version on Amazon. But somebody's going to get a free copy tonight. Here's how to get the free copy. Go and look on the videos. Find the link for the video about school that is there. You'll see my face there. And find which is the missing letter of the acronym. The acronym was of the word school, S-C-H-O-O-L, and there's a missing letter in my video. Whoever puts that missing letter up first, we'll contact you, we'll connect up with you and get your address. And the first person to put the missing letter is going to get this copy of the book. So there's a little freebie tonight, but I hope others will also read it and join in. Great to be with you. I see a question came up a little bit earlier. If perhaps some people are needing to I'm just trying to find. Lorraine said, excellent read, very practical, highly recommend. Thank you very much for that, Lorraine. And a question came in earlier. My problem was when my boys 6 and 8 are roughhousing and try to get them to stop, but they won't until someone gets hurt. Wow, Dee, hopefully I've answered your question. I hadn't read that earlier. But yeah, think about slowing down from fifth, fourth gear and so on, slow down through the gears. So hopefully you'll find that helpful and let us know if you do. So everybody, it's been great being here. I'm Val Mullally from Coimbra, and you know, my key words are: let's help our children to think more clearly, connect more compassionately, behave more responsibly, and live more joyfully. Hope this has been helpful. Been lovely being with you. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Thank you for all the love. Bye-bye.